Hey guys. So, I am one of those guys, one of those nerds that play Magic the Gathering. It's a card game. And I'm going to show you how to make a pretty awesome deck, actually. It's it's one of those annoying decks that they're not made to win. They're just made to annoy your opponent or opponents. Um, but this deck actually it actually does really good. It actually wins quite a bit. Um, it is a legacy deck, but I have our alternatives in there to actually make it a arena style, tournament style deck. So you'll see those. I'll show them out. But this deck is the Big Dick. It's a fairy goblin deck. It's green red. So here we go. First things first, you're going to need your land. So you're going to start off with 8 of your forests. And I added that one in there because when you tap it, it gives you an extra mana. So, you got that. Then, yeah, sorry about that. You want some mountains. I've got 12 in there. Alright. And that gives you 20 land. Now, these are illegal cards in tournament, which is why it's a legacy. They're white walled, so that's pretty it. But when you're playing regular, you're going to want to put a Desert Twister in there because you can destroy any card in play. It's pretty high cost. Yeah, that gets rid of any card. So that's pretty valuable to have. You're going to want to put your Giant Spider. If there's any creatures in there that have flying, he can block those, and he hits pretty hard. He's not a bad cost for green, being that green is a mana pool. If you don't use those, you are then going to want to use 2 of these guys, a Collision and Colossus. Collision gives you the option to deal 6 damage to any target creature with flying, or you can do target creature gets a +4/+2 engage trample until the end of turn. You want to run 2 of those, and that's an and/or card. So depending on what your playstyle is, those are really good to have. You want to run a electrostatic field. I can't talk because I'm retarded. It is a creature wall. It is a defender, so it doesn't attack, but it gives you 4 defense. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, whatever. And then sorry about that. Autofocus seems to not want to work. You want to get you some Ember Haulers, which is some goblins. You sacrifice it and you deal 2 damage to any target. Run you 3 of those. Get you a Dagger Cell Aeronaut. And as long as it's your turn, the Dagger Cell Aeronaut has flying. A lot of people don't have flying defense, so that's like an easy 3 hit. Run you 2 of those. Then you want a Goblin Smuggler, just because he has haste, so as soon as he comes out, he can attack for 2. And then anything with power 2 or less can't be blocked on that turn if you tap him. So, boom. Run you 2 of those. Get you a Voltaic Brawler. It's human. It's a green-red, and it gets you 2 energy. You can use energy for counters. So, yeah, if you do, you get a +1/+1, making him a 4/3. Then you get 2 more counters on there. Really good card to use. He gets really powerful, and he can stop a lot of things. You want your Glinthorn Buccaneer, which is a Minotaur pirate. He has haste, does 2/4, and when you discard a card, you can draw a card, activate this ability with a mana cost of 2. He costs 3. Not bad. Then you want your Siege Breaker Giant, which has Trample. 6/3. Yeah, as you can tell, he can't have damage by just one person. Multiple creatures have to block him to deal damage. You want your Scorch Spitter, which is Elemental Lizard, and it does 1 damage to the player or the planeswalker it's attacking. So you can do 1 damage to any creature, and then automatically the player or the planeswalker, if they're playing planeswalker, gets 1 damage anytime that guy attacks. Really, really good burn damage. It's a dick move. The Goblin Bird Grabber. He gains flying until the end of the turn. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with flying. And so, you know, you got some goblins in there with flying, and you got some fairies in here. So you definitely got some flying, and that just adds to your flying, and he's also ground. Another good guy to have. Goblin Ringleader. Another guy with haste, so he can attack as soon as you bring him out. And you reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all the goblin cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Not a bad card to have if you're running a lot of goblins, and there's a good handful of goblins in here. So I would use him to try to get my goblins out to really mess with people. That, and he hits pretty good, and he has haste, so he comes out swinging. Then you're getting into your greens. This is where you're really going to make some dick moves. Your legendary enchantment artifact, the Bow of Nilia. The attacking creatures you control have death touch. So anything that tries to block them dies. And you can put a 1/1 counter on any of your target creatures, or the Bow of Nilia deals 2 damage to the target creature with flying, and you gain 3 life. Or put up to 4 target cards from your graveyard on the bottom of your library in any order. This is a beast card to have. Usually I would hold him in my hand until I get backed into a corner, and then I'll throw that out. And yeah, it pisses a lot of people off. Then you got your Elf. Elf Artificer. I can't speak, so whatever. Highspire Artisan. He has reach, which means the creature can block creatures with flying, and he can fabricate. So when he enters the battlefield, you put a 1/1 counter on him, or create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. So you get a 1/1 token on him. He becomes then a 1/4 if you fabricate him. But he has block, so that gives you another defense for creatures with flying. And now you're getting to some fairies. A Willow Fairy has flying, 1/2. Easy enough said. Yuktabi Fairy. Flying, you can sacrifice it and destroy any target artifact. So that's a double good one because it's got flying. So like I said, if you got people who's playing flying blocking, boom. If you got somebody who wants to beat this card with any kind of artifact they got, go ahead and sacrifice it, and boom, get rid of that artifact. Really good card to have. Right here, a Locust Swarm. Flying, it can regenerate. You can untap the Locust Swarm, and you use the ability once each turn. So if this ever gets like attacked and destroyed, just regenerate it. Regenerate it. Regenerate it. Regenerate it. This card will piss a lot of people off. This card will also piss a lot of people. A lot of these green cards are going to piss people off. The Bog Strider Ash. It is a Tree Folk Shaman, and it has Swamp Walk. So whenever a player plays a Goblin spell, you can pay 1 mana, and you gain 2 life. And he attacks for 2. So there's a handful of goblins in this deck, so you want to. This is your life link. It's going to give you a lot of life, and he's not bad attacking. Boom. This is a Willy Bander. He gains Indestructible at the end of the turn, so it doesn't pay bad, but Indestructible means nothing can block him, so That's just like a free hit if you pay the mana. Not bad. It's a dick move because you can't block him. Plant Wall, Defender. You got 05, and you can put a 0/1 counter on the Wall of Roots. If you add 1 mana to your pool, activate this ability only once each turn. You can add a mana, you can keep it as a wall. It's a defender. It makes it hard to attack your not flyers if people want to do that. A Netcaster Spider. It has reach, so that again that can block creatures with flying, and whenever a Netcaster blocks a creature with flying, it gets a +2, so that's going to make him a 4/3 until the end of your turn. A beefy card to put in your deck. This card will piss a lot of people off also. This entire deck, like I said, it pisses people off. The Hornet Nest. It's a creature insect, defender, and this creature can't attack. But whenever the Hornet's Nest is dealt damage, put that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch onto the battlefield. That's going to piss a lot of people off because if you defend for 1, he doesn't die, but you get a token. And you can keep on doing that. Keep on doing that. Just keep on doing that. And you can build a lot of green tokens with death touch and flying. This guy, I never really get to pull him out in here, so I don't know what people really think about him. The game's usually over by now. But he has vigilance and the attacking doesn't cost the creature to tap. But he attacks really high. He's kind of a high pool. You kind of want some big creatures, obviously. So he's the one that I have in there. This guy, as a foil, Alpha Xanax, whatever you want to call him. Kind of a big call. Hits really hard. And that's really all he is. He's just a hard hitter. You got your takedown, and this is now you're in your sorceries. You can deal 4 damage to the target creature with flying, or you can deal 1 damage to each creature with flying. So, yeah, if somebody's playing flying, use this sorcery, and you can probably take out a handful of their flyers, because they're probably only like hitting for 1 or defense is 1 anyway, so you can take them out. Get some red sorceries. You want your Tectonic Rift. Destroy a target land. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. That's going to piss a lot of people off because they're going to lose their land, which loses their mana, and yeah, great card to have. Another sorcery, you gain control of a target creature until the end of the turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until the end of the turn. So, use that to use probably their biggest baddie against them, or if they have a death touch on there, use that against them. Whatever you can. This card's pretty much a guaranteed you're gonna hit the target player because they're not gonna be able to get anything. I would use this against a card with trample, because no matter what, that damage is gonna run through. So, another great card to use. This is a dick card. I always end up pulling this card. Reckless Airstrike. You choose one. You can do 3 damage to a target creature with flying, or you can destroy a target artifact. I usually use that one to destroy the target artifact because a lot of people really don't play flying. But it's awesome because of that. Only learning 1. Reap the Past. Return X amount of cards at random from the graveyard to your hand. Exile or reap from the past. If you don't know how that works, so you gotta pay the mana, and then however many extra you pay is how many cards you can pull out of your graveyard at random. So if you have 30 mana, you could probably pull out your entire graveyard. Let's see here. Reduce to Ashes. Sorcery. Yep. And that deals 5 damage to a target creature. If that creature would die, you exile it. So that's one. If you got a big hitter, go ahead and take him out. If you've got a Planeswalker, they usually start off about 5. Take it out. And then they can't bring them back. Another sorcery, the Savage Twister, deals X amount of damage to each creature. So that one, as long as you've got the mana, the X, I would spend that on their highest So if you've got 10 extra, I would put 10 on there because not very many people are going to run anything bigger than 10 and just wipe out their entire field. That is a field wipe, essentially, if you've got the mana. The Command the Storm deals 5 damage to a target creature. That one's another one to take out creatures. People hate these cards. Shock damage deals 2 damage to any target, so you can go ahead and hit the player straight on. And that's what I usually do with these. Running one. You got your Infuriate. Target creature gets +3/+2 until the end of turn. I usually hit that on, well, any of your creatures really, because that's just going to make them bigger and they hit with it automatically. Your Healing Leaves. Choose one. The target player gains 3 life or prevents the next 3 damage that would be dealt to target creature or target this turn. That's a really good card if you're running low on life and you really just want to make the game go on maybe another turn, just to see where it would go. Really low cost. It kind of just pisses people off, and especially if you can mill their deck by doing this. I've done that a couple times, and it's a lifesaver when you can mill their deck by using this. Obviously, so whatever. And Appetite for the Unnatural. Destroy a target, artifact, or enchantment, and you gain 2 life. Another good instant to have, and yeah, it's not a bad cost to bring it. Well, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed receiving the Big Dick. You know, stay tuned. I'll show you guys some more decks as I build them. They're all going to be annoying decks, and yeah, you know, like normal, like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think of this deck. Let me know if it's something you would play. I play it pretty frequently just to piss people off, and I get a really good laugh out of it. And like I said, it's not made to win, but it wins probably 65% of the time I use it. It's great. I'd say 100% of the time, just because I laugh when it loses, because it really pisses people off, and they usually get really mad and put together like the stupidest combo just to do anything to that deck. But I put that deck together all together for like 15-20 bucks, something like that. It was just random things I found as I'm looking for cards that I was using for my tournament decks. But yeah, let me know what you guys think.